Okay, and welcome back to WDBV videos. Today we're going to do a little bit of a change, but essentially today what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a quick rundown and show you the main differences to making your rig a lot more professional, especially if you're using a rack mount system. What I'm going to be doing is showing you some little bits around the Boss graphic EQ which I use, and a BBE Sonic Maximizer 482. These are two little bits of my arsenal that it makes the sound so much more professional and tight. All right. So this will give you an example. So a little bit of a difference today of way I've got it set up. Today again I'm going from my guitar to the GT8. GT8 in stereo then is going to the Sonic Maximizer, BBE Sonic Maximizer 482. From that then into a Boss graphic EQ. From that then into my Marshall stereo 50 watt 9005. So it's stereo, each channel 50 watt. I'm not sure if any of you know about these units. They go for a pittance these days. The downside of them is they're quite heavy. Well, not actually, understatement, they're really heavy. But no more heavier than a combo. All right. I mean, I've got, and I'll show you a little bit of it in a minute. I've got a PV Valve King 100 watt 2x12 combo, and it's the actual rack mount unit itself with the Maximizer and the graphic EQ and the 9005 unit is far less heavy than the PV Valve King. So so going from the guitar to GT8 in stereo, then into the rack mount system. Going from the rack mount system, then I use two 2x12 cabs. Instead of using a 4x12, I'll use a 2x12. So if I'm playing in a small place, I can stack the 2x12s and get a 4x12 sound. But if I'm using a little bit more space, what I'll do is I'll stand the 2x12s at one end, and I'll split them a little bit. So I get a nice bit of space in between it, and that makes a huge difference. I'm not sure if any of you have tried playing in stereo. It's ridiculous. It's like going from on your stereo, going from a mono system to your stereo system using the two speakers, and it's just ridiculously. It's so much bigger sound. What the advantage I find that of on stage then is I can turn the actual amp down a little bit, so I'm not blasting everyone on stage. I use a DI out straight out into the mixing desk from the GT8, because essentially all I'm really doing is I'm using it like a power amp. There's no preamp side of the Marshall unit, so it's basically like as if I'm plugging straight into a PA, my own little PA. Yeah. So the sounds I'm getting from the GT8, I don't have to change them at all for my amp, because what you'll find sometimes, if you plug a GT8 into a PC and then go into a combo, the sounds don't quite sound the same, and you have to adjust them and have two separate different patches, one for your PC, one for and recording, one for your combo playing live. Whereas this way, it's exactly the same sound. So yeah, the two 2x12s I use a Laney Ironheart 2x12, and what was an old Mazimizer combo. I'm not quite strictly sure exactly what the combo it was, but it's got the two Black Widow Spider or Black Widow speakers in it. So that's a bit more of a darker sound to it. So complementing the Laney then, and using my stereo rig, it sounds awesome. So I'll give you an example of the sound. This is purely just mic'd up at a bit of a distance, using quite a cheap microphone plugged straight into the mixing desk, and from the mixing desk into the PC. It's a very dynamic, actually a vocal mic. So, but this will give you an idea of roughly what it sounds like. Okay, so I'm using a bit of a wet sound on a GT8, a GCM 800 bass model. Okay, so that gives you an idea of the dirty sound that I normally use. I'll swap over to more of a Fender Bassman sort of sound. Again, I'm using my Gibson SG with the Steve Lukather DiMaggio pickups in it. So this is giving an idea of this. Okay, and then finally then, a real clean channel. So that gives you an idea of my sound that I normally use. Right, now I'm going to give you a bit of a guided tour. Okay, and as you can see, here's my rack mount gear. So it's a Marshall 9005 power amp. Yeah, so these things are absolute beasts. It's basically a stereo dual 50 watt amp, all tube, no preamp side of it, so it's all power amp. Yeah, each side 50 watt, but they are switchable down to 25 watt, so it makes them a bit more manageable in the house. And they've got switchable ohmages settings on the back from, I think it's a 16 ohm to 8 ohm to 4 ohm. So you can do a number of different versions. Always try, if you can, to keep the same ohmages either side. All right. But yeah, so what I'm using with that then is going from that into a Boss. You can see it. So it's a Boss GE215 graphic EQ. Then from that into the Sonic BBE Sonic Maximizer 482. So both stereo units, both rack mount units. You can get a floor like floor pedal foot switch version, a mono version of the BBE Sonic Maximizer. Again, cracking little pieces of kit. They make such a difference, as you'll see, to my sound. So from that then, so yeah, sorry, I'm going straight from the GT8, as usual. Here's my GT8. There's a mixing desk. Yeah, as you can see, all I'm just using is just 2 mics today. So I'm going from guitar to GT8 in stereo, through to straight through into the Sonic Maximizer. From the Sonic Maximizer then via patch leads into the graphic EQ, and then from graphic EQ into the Marshall 9005. Another good thing which makes this thing such an absolute beast is by all means, I could use 2 4x12s with this, but you can actually use 4 4x12s if you want. Now that thing would just rip the walls off if I did, to be honest. I've got this now, which is quite loud, at about 3.5 either side, and it's more than ample, to be honest. I use this in live situations at probably around about halfway on the 50 watt setting, and it's more than ample for any area. But if needs be, what you could do, you could use either 2 2x12s or 4 4x12s. So instead of having to have 2 heads and run 2 great huge stacks, you could use one of these and 4 cabs. They're immense pieces of kit. You can get a newer version of it called an EL34 dual block now, which is more in gold, but essentially it's exactly the same thing, not far off anyway. It does exactly the same job, and you can pick these up for around about, in the UK, probably about £150–200. So for that, it's an absolute beast. Right. So what I'll show you now is the difference in my sound. So I'll go back and put it back on the PC so you can see what I'm doing. But essentially what I'll do now is I'll be switching back and forth between just using the monoblock on its own, taking out and not having activated the BBE or the Boss. All right, and then I'll bring each part back in as we go along. Okay, here we are again, and now, so this is my sound as it is, purely with both units switched off. So I'm just going from GT8 into the dual, the stereo power amp, from power amp then into the two cabs. Okay, so here it is. So, if you bought the Boss GT8, a guitar, the two 2x12s, and a Marshall 9005, this is the sound you could probably get. Yeah, that's more than capable, all right? But in a live situation, you're going to have, how can I say, a lot more of a cut-in sound to get through the mix than that. It's all bottom end, all right? Right, now I'm going to kick in just the graphic EQ. Okay, so the graphic EQ is on, and the Marshall 9005. So this at this point is no BBE Sonic Maximizer. Yeah, okay. It's getting there. It's a bit clearer. It's got to bring the mids through. Again, though, I've only got because I'm using two different cabs. They're complete different sounds to them. So I'm compensating a little bit by adjusting my EQ on both sides. But essentially, I've got a fair bit of level on the bass and the treble side, and I'm doing a bit of a mid scoop. But apart from that, because the Black Widow Spiders speakers are a lot deeper sounding, I'm bringing the mids up a little bit on that channel. Okay, so this is... That's my sound now with purely just the graphic EQ. Okay, now remember this is only using one mic, one cheap mic. Right, now what I'll do is I'll bring in the Sonic Maximizer. And it's really cutting through. You can't really appreciate the difference that has made. It's taken all the muddiness out of the bottom end. It's taken any of the harshness out of the top end. And it's really tightened up the sound a hell of a lot more. A little bit of a signal boost as well. So it's boosted my signal just a little bit more again. And it's from in my room here, it's awesome. So, playing in a live situation, this thing really cuts through. Okay, so that's all we do for today from Who the Bear videos. So hopefully that's given you some ideas on who you are using the rack mount system, what difference the two units like the Boss graphic or a graphic EQ and the BBE Sonic Maximizer. There are alternatives to the Sonic Maximizer. There's an Aphex All Exciter unit. I think Behringer actually do their own different version of the Sonic Maximizer. They all roughly do the same sort of things. So that's all for me today from Who the Bear videos, and I'll best give you some ideas of your own. Cheers.